इस पे आपने जाना है, हम ये ऑफर करें, या maybe if you search for specific food like burgers, I will show you I have the best burgers, and आप inherently आप सोचेंगे हाँ यार यहाँ जाके try करना चाहिए. So for me it's amazing, right, as a marketer. But keep in mind, this monopoly of data right now can easily be abused, right? I can target you in multiple shape, way, form based on every single click you do on the internet, right? Very, very simple. And as a take-home experiment, आपके लिए, right? Go back and look, read TikTok's terms and conditions. I will guarantee you'll be surprised. Okay? It does not only like सिर्फ ये सब आपके data rights और privacy नाम शाम नहीं लेता, you know, आपके phone का access, right? All of it, it takes all of it. आपका it can run क्या कहते हैं your phone book, आपके IMEI number देख सकता है, आपका phone number देख सकता है, आपका SIM network देख सकता है, आपके क्या कहते हैं कॉन्टैक्ट बुक्स हो वो तो यही है, उसके अलावा आपका क्या कहते हैं आपके फ़ोन के ऑपरेशंस को कंट्रोल कर सकता है, राइट? और अगेन टिकटॉक इज जहाँ आपने वीडियोस देखने गए और आपका पूरा फ़ोन आपने बेच दिया, राइट? दे कैन रिमोट कंट्रोल इट इफ दे वांट, राइट? गोइंग ओवर द टर्म्स एंड कंडीशंस. So have a look at it afterwards. Theoretically, this is where Web3 comes in. Web3 changes this. अब वो डेटा जो एक्सचेंज कर रहे हैं, it can be done directly peer to peer, यानी me to you or you to me, without the need of a middleman like a bank or a tech company, right? You would now be the owner of data instead of being the product of data, right? So you can get more transparency and autonomy as you go. Okay? जैसा आप जा रहे हैं, आप अपने डेटा को जैसे यूटिलाइज करना आप कर सकते हैं. Someone shared your stuff, right? You can get monetized for that. Right? As a simple example. And the best thing about this is that anyone can be part of the blockchain. Right? And this is an important thing to know. With many financial solutions, not everyone can be part of it. With blockchain, anyone, despite your race, your age, your location, doesn't matter. Now, you might be thinking, how would this work, right? It's too good to be true. कि कैसे ये काम करेगा अगर आप बीच से सर्वर्स ही हटा दो. So removing things like AWS or Google as a middleman, you would be using something that जिन्होंने Web3 का सुना है would know what I'll be talking about. The way you do these peer-to-peer data exchanges is cryptocurrencies, right? Users can be incentivized. Users and builders and creators are incentivized to use and maintain the blockchain in return for tokens or coins, right? That's given to them. As an example, you share your computing power, जिसको हम कहते हैं proof of work, right? जो जिस तरह Bitcoin काम करता है, you get Bitcoin in return. अब आपने सुना होगा mining का, this is the same thing, right? So using your computing power in exchange for Bitcoin. So again, it's incentivization. कि आप अपनी computing power दे रहे हो to run a node or a small server and you get Bitcoin in return. Similarly, अभी आप लोग if you're following Web3 आपको पता होगा कि अभी the merge Ethereum के साथ एक हो रहा है. तो they're moving to a proof of stake जिसमें आप जितना एक community के fan हो, for example मेरे पास 1000 Ethereum पड़ा हुआ है, right? 100 Ethereum पड़ा, मैं दिखा रहा हूँ मैं इतना fan हूँ, मैं सिर्फ financial instrument जो ले रहा हूँ वो Ethereum ले रहा हूँ. For that, आप जितना ज़्यादा अपना स्टेक करेंगे, जितना ज़्यादा आप सर्वर पे डालेंगे वही पैसा, उतना ज़्यादा आपको रिवॉर्ड मिलने के चांस है. तो मनी मेक्स मोर मनी फॉर यू, राइट? एंड इट्स डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल टू आप जितना है, राइट? तो इट्स नॉट जस्ट द रिच बीइंग रिचर, बट एज अ पार्टिसिपेंट इन द कम्युनिटी यू कैन अर्न मोर टोकन्स, you stake those and again earn more from that, right? It's a multiple game. It's not a zero sum game. In this thing, in many cases. Now this is a key area of development and one of the use cases that we'll be sort of disseminating today, that is DeFi or decentralized finance. This is the idea that anything and everything that you do, आपकी जो भी interactions हैं on the internet can be one, monetized or incentivized with two tokens or currencies that will inherently provide you monetary value based on the economics of the operation. Now that was a mouthful, but what that means is basically आप जो भी कुछ इंटरनेट पे करेंगे, राइट, फॉर एग्जांपल आपने, कमिंग बैक टू दैट एडवर्टाइजिंग एग्जांपल, अब किसी ने आपको टारगेट करना है, they'll have to buy your data. For each use of your data, they'll have to pay, right? And this is because you own the data. No one owns your data now. You own this data and you can make money out of it, right? For example, you're a celebrity and you want to see ads for, XYZ, right? You want to see ads for, facial products. Um, Companies would reach out to you, or reach out to your social decentralized profile and automatically, say, you can say yes or no that you want to see these ads, and if say you click on an ad, they get your information and you get money, right? But just clicking on an ad, because this is not for free, this is done with a monetary exchange. And of course, other forms of monetary exchange are like trading, yeah, basing your value off of other cryptos. Yani Bitcoin itna giya hai, so my token will be worth this much, etc. But this is a gross oversimplification. But heck, all of this sounds great, but काफी lingering questions हैं on how regulators और इस पे regulations कैसे आएंगे, right? ये एक scale कैसे करेगा? Would I want to participate? Would you want to participate? क्यों करेंगे जब हमारी जिंदगी इतनी सुकून है अभी के इंटरनेट पे, right? And अगर scale होता है तो what would it look like, right? Or if true decentralization is even possible. So, फिलहाल, it's pretty much an abstract concept, right? And the reason I'm saying this is because the total value of the entire ecosystem is about $1 trillion. Now compare that to a company such as Apple, which is worth over $2 trillion, two instead of one. So I'm comparing an entire ecosystem, okay, of thousands of people and financial products versus one company, Apple. So it's still nascent, it's still small. Um, However, you can see this as an opportunity. ठीक है कि मुझे, it's still early, मैं इस पे कुछ बना लूँ, I can make a lot of money or I can provide value, a building block, or even a fad, right? कि ये बस एक trend है चला जाएगा, right? As we go through it, whatever the case may be, it's important to note कि सालाना or year-on-year developments, इसमें जो vision है of decentralization या democratized internet, वो सालाना possible नजर आ रहा है. Even with the recent merge, it's getting more and more and more. It's really coming into fruition. So as far as Web3 goes, right, that's how it pitches. An evolution of a problem statement. Right? Web1 was a problem statement where you couldn't interact, solved by Web2, जहाँ you can interact. तो इसमें problems आ गए, आपकी data is not yours, right? And that's being abused, that's easily being abused or could be abused, monopoly hai. And that's solved by, say, Web3 now. And the growth rate of this industry is insane, right? So adoption of internet versus adoption of Web3 is a lot faster in the last few years, especially. Yeah, go ahead. How can we set up a website on Web3? How much does it cost us? Yeah, so a website on Web3 right now would be an ENS domain. Okay? So a domain that will be www.mohammadarshad.eth.xyz, whatever. So there are some companies offering these services, ENS domains, unstoppable domains, and they have their varied costs. Right? Depending on the ecosystem, or different cost charge karte hain. So you can definitely start there. Wahan you can run dApps, your decentralized applications. Usme you can definitely have one of your blockchain products running. But generally, फिलहाल जो अभी लोग कर रहे हैं is that they have a decentralized product like an exchange or NFT or whatever, blockchain पे, and उसको advertise करते हैं Web2 में using Web2 websites, social media, etc. So adoption में अभी भी थोड़े gaps हैं, but yeah, if to answer your question, that's how you would do it. Any other questions before I move to use cases? How much does it cost to set up a DAO? And for development, learning to test it, some of you about it. How much does it cost to set up a DAO? Okay, that's a very broad question, right? What part of a DAO are you asking about? The community, the consensus, which part of a DAO? And in the meantime, I'll answer the second one. For development and learning purposes, you can definitely, yes, you can definitely use testnets, Ethereum, Polygon, Binance has testnets too. You can use faucets to get temporary funds. वो funds आप लेके, you can run real-time applications. And yeah, testnets are readily available. EdTech community. Acha, say your question is a little broad. Let me break it down for you. So a DAO, for those of you that don't know, is a decentralized autonomous organization. समझे एक community ही है, इस community बोलने का एक fancy term. But उस community में participation or leadership is based on, either token holding or contributions, right? And both are one of the same. You can start up a DAO without necessarily having anything, and you can definitely run its operation on a token that you created yourself. And then obviously peg it to a different, sort of crypto, or have a pool जहाँ उसकी value हो, and then go from there. Development costs अगर आप कहीं और से कराते हैं वो आपको आएंगे, या फिर आप खुद बना लें. There's many open source code, which is the beauty of Web3. काफ़ी items within Web3 are all open source, so you can get it out there. Community build करने के लिए you need $0. Many communities, the best of the best communities are built on, no money being spent. It's just based on a mission, vision, and a passion to do more, as well as deliverables that are timely, as well as respected by the community. So as for cost, I would say none. Again, if you want additional things like a site, like Arshadas, or you want to run a node yourself, which not many people do, उस पे आपको cost आ सकता है. But many different things. So once you get into it, आपको पता लग जाएगा. But very broad question. But I hope towards the end of this वो आपका specify हो जाए. So establish a token. No, you don't need to fork. You definitely don't need to fork. That's absolutely not necessary. You can have a layer 2. You can build on the same layer. It doesn't matter. I think you're getting too complex. Like let's take on the basics, and then we'll go to this. Okay. Now that we're already talking about use cases, and मैंने DeFi का आप लोग को थोड़ा बता दिया है, as well as DAOs को भी हमने touch कर लिया है. Let's sort of break it down, right? So DeFi or decentralized finance, right? A concept है कि आप you use decentralized application for financial services, right? That is the complete opposite of banks. No one owns it. It's run on code, which is called smart contracts, which have basic, they have functions that serve as the protocol, right? कि ये करना है XYZ, ये नहीं करना XYZ. And they help in defining specific functionalities of these applications. The best thing, and the reason why people would use DeFi or decentralized finance or decentralized apps for finance is because these applications will keep running as long as the underlying blockchain exists. मतलब जब तक Ethereum जिंदगी भर चल रहा है, ठीक है, उसका layer 1 चल रहा है, then your app will forever be running. ठीक है, no one can take it down, etc. ऐसी कोई बात नहीं. Of course, security is a different thing, उस पर हम आते हैं. But it will exist permanently, and it will exist permanently on those parameters, your protocols that are set in the smart contract. Obviously, as time evolves, protocols need to evolve. So, अगर code run कर रहा है, who's managing that code? Another good thing about Web3 is that all of this blockchain stuff, right? It enables an open creator economy. उस पे ये हो जाता है कि anyone can participate. आप क्या कर सकते हो कि you can go to GitHub or whatever, right? You can see protocol running, and उस पे आप जाके you can contribute directly. ठीक है, आप कह सकते हो this is suggested changes, and a body member can say this is a good change or this is a bad change. Let's take it, and anyone can contribute. This can facilitate a lot of things, right? Decentralized finance is crazy because crypto lending, right, is a big thing. यानी आप अपना digital asasa you can keep as a collateral for taking more money out, and वही पैसा आप लेके दूसरे protocol में डाल सकते हो to generate more revenue, and more revenue आप लेके can take it in another one. तो arbitrage opportunities बहुत हैं, right? Obviously risk भी जितना भी करते हैं तो risk भी होता रहता है. Um, and another crucial highlight के DeFi क्यों important is because these serve as payment blockchains as well, right? अब peer-to-peer digital transactions, for example, आप कभी दूसरे मुल्क ट्रैवल करते हो या कुछ भी करते हो, like let's take दूसरे मुल्क ट्रैवल करना as an example, वहाँ की आपकी करेंसी नहीं है for example, but if they take blockchain based payments, right, you can use your decentralized applications to pay, right, as a universal token, right, and you can maybe even convert that token to another of the same value, right, and pay with that. उसमें से there's no third party again. You're not going to currency exchanges, you're not going to many different banks or anything. You're just using what you own directly. You know exactly how it's been used, and it's all being recorded on chain. तो आप बाद में जाके अपनी transaction history भी देख सकते हो if you want to see lifetime. And the biggest thing again, it's like it's very evident because it's very low cost, it's very peer to peer, it's almost instant, right? अगर मैं अभी बैठ के अपने Binance ऐप से आपको भेजूं आपके Binance ऐप पे या आपके वॉलेट पे, आपके पास within a minute आ जाएगा, उससे भी कम पे शायद. And this is why this is good is because काफी लोग, right, either because of age या जहाँ रह रहे हैं or emerging markets such as Pakistan या any of these other emerging markets, वहाँ not everyone has access to financial tools such as banks. Yeah, many people don't even have phones, right? So these payment blockchains can serve as your enablement to financial services. And inshallah, we'll see how these exactly evolve. So payment is a good thing. It is the greatest thing of DeFi, I think primarily, as well as access, ease of access anywhere and anytime with it. So to summarize, DeFi and Web3, why is DeFi important? People can contribute to it and build to it. It lives forever. There's low transaction fees. It's transparent. Everyone can see what's happening. Accountable as well. Permissionless. You don't need anyone's permission. आपको NIC नहीं चाहिए, आपको ये नहीं चाहिए, वो नहीं चाहिए to access these. And there's a very heavy added layer of encryption and privacy that you get through the inherent use of blockchain. Coming to DAOs as the second use case, this was the first. अब DAOs की जब हम बात करते हैं, तो DAOs are again a decentralized autonomous organization, यानी आप कह लें community एक Facebook group है. तो उसकी ownership is not done by a community member या admin जिसने एक दफा page बना लिया. It's done by every single member of the community. अगर 100 हैं, 100 people own it, and the way they own it, उनकी percentages vary based on their contributions. Right? उस पे governance आ जाता है, etc. I could get a lot more complex within this space. But the idea is, सारे वो जो 100 बंदे हैं, they'll have to agree on a consensus to make things happen. For example, मेरी एक community है कि foodies की, ठीक? हमारी community decide करती है कि अगले restaurant पे हमने मिलके कहाँ जाना है. अब keep in mind मिलके. तो as a community वो 100 बंदे हम लोग एक voting mechanism रखते हैं. वो voting mechanism पे, you know, the most popular vote पे हम उस restaurant पे चले जाएंगे. Simple as that. That's the idea. And with the use of blockchain, आप इसमें there's not आप वो cheating वाला aspect हटा दो, आप इससे you know transparency वाला aspect हटा दो. All of this comes inherent and inbuilt. So a community is a lot more interactive. There's a lot more back and forth, and you get to decide what happens. Another example is your favorite sports team. For anyone who watches cricket or any other sport, right? For example, अगर आपने पाकिस्तान टीम की टी-शर्ट देखी और you want कि भाई अगली दफ़ा टी-शर्ट का डिज़ाइन में XYZ चीज़ें होनी चाहिए या कुछ लिखा होना चाहिए. That thing can come through proposal within the community. That proposal can pass through the PCB, for example. PCB वाले देखेंगे कि यार this is the highest voted thing. Let's consider this. वो कंसिडर करके अगले दफ़ा शर्ट पे लगा देंगे. Right? आपको पूरा ट्रांसपेरेंट होगा उनका डिसीजन मेकिंग प्रोसेस, आपकी कम्युनिटी का, अगले बंदे ने क्या किया है, every single thing. As we go, these features will evolve an amazing community, like the gentleman mentioned EdTech, right? As well. So the potential this maybe are soon to be seen कि इसके कर क्या सकते. Before I keep babbling on, is there any questions in the meantime? Building a DAO is like building a startup. Yes, Wilford. Similar. It's building a startup, building a community, building a following, right? Abdul Asi, blockchain services like making smart contracts have a good future. What do you think is a good idea to make blockchain service providing agency? Okay. I think as far as use cases for building your business, I'll come back to that a bit later. Um, like I mentioned, right, there's one thing to note that the entire industry is very nascent, right? अभी तक Web3 की एक definition नहीं है globally. There's no definition. इतनी early है this industry. So yes, there definitely could be a market for making blockchain services and selling them. I know quite a few people that do that. And what would that mean for you, right? Can mean very different things. So you can offer smart contract services, etc., etc. But also do note that one of the highest paying jobs last year as a developer was a smart contractor in the world. So yes, there is definitely a market. And another piece of statistic is that for every 30 jobs in Web3, there is one relevant developer. So yes, to answer your question, I think the short of it, yes, there definitely could be a market for this. But having people, come to you as clients, you'll have to, show them something of substance first. Can you explain the difference between proof of work and proof of stake? Yes. So proof of work, simply I would say, is proof of energy consumption. ठीक, मैंने ये लैपटॉप चलाया, मैंने बत्तियां चलाई, right? Energy consume हो रही है. Similarly, proof of work में भी है. Proof of work is a consensus mechanism. जैसे मैंने कहा community में consensus चाहिए होता है to make things go forward. Is a consensus mechanism where computing power over different nodes दुनिया में would provide computing power in exchange to get Bitcoin, for example. तो you're showing that आपकी मैं transaction जो है जो blockchain पे मैं ला रहा हूँ उसको अगर मैं आपको तेजी से करके दे सकता हूँ तो उसके लिए मुझे एक रिवॉर्ड मिलना चाहिए. दैट इज प्रूफ ऑफ वर्क. कि मैं बड़े बड़े ग्राफिक्स कार्ड में लगाए हैं, मैंने बड़े बड़े पीसीज लगाए हुए हैं, तो उसके बदले मुझे बिटकॉइन मिलना चाहिए. दैट इज प्रूफ ऑफ वर्क इन अ नटशेल. ठीक है, ओवर सिंप्लीफाई करके. प्रूफ ऑफ स्टेक में ये होता है कि फॉर एग्जांपल वही 100 बंदे हम लेते हैं, 100 बंदे में 100 इथीरियम डिवाइड कर लेते हैं, बट उनमें से एक बंदे के पास 50 इथीरियम है, बाकी के पास 0.5 या 1 इथीरियम. तो प्रूफ ऑफ स्टेक में ये होता है कि मैंने अपना जो टोकन्स है उसको मैंने स्टेक किया है, यानी मैंने अपने हाथ से दे के ब्लॉकचेन पे लगा दिया है फॉर लिक्विडिटी. ठीक है, कि कोई भी ट्रेड करे तो उसको आराम से मिल जाए लिक्विडिटी के लिए मैं लगा दिया. एंड वहाँ से क्या कहते हैं, जितना आपने लगाया है उसके प्रोपोर्शनेट आपको रिवॉर्ड्स मिलेंगे. अब रिमेंबर द 50 वर्सेस 1 ETH वाली बात मैंने की थी. अब 50 ETH जिसके पास है उसके पास हैज़ अ बेटर चांस टू फाइनलाइज दैट ट्रांजैक्शन एंड विन इथेरियम वर्सेस जिसके पास 1 ETH है. So that's basically showing कि भाई I'm a bigger fan of the ecosystem. I've invested a lot more in the ecosystem. That means मेरी transaction has a higher priority, right? That is proof of stake. So proof of work, मेरे में जितना अच्छे graphics card हैं उतने बड़े बेहतर चांस है मेरे, versus proof of stake जितने ज़्यादा मेरे पास for example ethereum है उतना ज़्यादा चांस है मुझे ethereum जीतने का, right? So that's like a difference I would say. Arif, did I miss your question? Kindly can you mention any particular examples in present scenario, Pakistan or abroad? For DAOs, yes. For DAOs, there are many good examples. Let me think of some. Off the top of my head, I know their logo, मेरे दिमाग में नहीं आ रहा, but I'll get to that question a little bit later. One of the more interesting ones, I think, run by a Pakistani is called Meta School. मैंने आजकल में देखा था, I think a while back. वो भी edtech पे काम कर रहे हैं. So look at that. They're also running a DAO, I think. DAO में there is Maker. Yes, Maker DAO. Maker DAO is like proper OG है वो. That's like समझे is one of the first of its kind. So look at Maker DAO. Maker DAO is a very good example. उनके साथ काफ़ी मसले मसाइल हुए थे. They had many successes too. So they are ones that have evolved through the test of time, I believe, and will continue to do so. So have a look at MakerDAO, have a look at, say, Metaschool, it's a smaller one. And many DAOs keep popping up day after day. So we'll be updates. Examples. You can run a quick Google search, but Maker is one of the primary ones, I would say. In adoption of cryptocurrency as a payment method, is it really possible considering transaction fees, and regulations? Yes. So transaction speed, abhi within the crypto ecosystem, okay. Visa or MasterCard की transaction speed is about 30,000 transactions per second, 40,000. Abhi with the recent Ethereum upgrade, जो हम कह रहे हैं the merge को, उससे it's primed to do 100,000 transactions per second, okay, compared to what it was doing before, which is about 3,000. Many other ecosystems are doing similar numbers or more than Visa already. और वीजा के एग्जांपल आपको फिर भी दे रहा हूँ. अब वीजा और मास्टरकार्ड में 30,000+ ट्रांजैक्शन पर सेकंड हो रही है. उसके बजाय 30,000+ ट्रांजैक्शंस कभी फुली यूटिलाइज नहीं होती. ठीक है, दुनिया भर में पर सेकंड 18 से 20,000 मुश्किल से होती है. तो 100,000 1 लाख को करने पे भी कोई एसेट्स फायदा नहीं आ रहा. बट टू आंसर योर क्वेश्चन, ट्रांजैक्शन स्पीड आर वे टू फास्ट. एनीवेज, second thing, transaction fees. अब as transaction speeds increase, transaction fees would decrease. Okay? And as consensus protocols, as well as finality से मुराद कि आपका जो transaction है वो blockchain पे आ गया, जितना टाइम उसके लिए कम लगेगा. अभी बिटकॉइन के 10 मिनट लगते हैं. ठीक है, जितना टाइम उसके लिए कम लगेगा, जितने सेकंड, माइक्रो सेकंड, मिली सेकंड लगते रहेंगे, उतने फीस कम होती रहेंगी. एंड every year we see upgrades in that. So I think as we go, the fees will keep on getting reduced, जो gas fees हम कहते हैं, and make it a lot more accessible to everyone. Regulations, yes. Regulations, I'll answer in a bit. I'll just finish up use cases and come to regulations. It's a very interesting topic. Other use cases come to privacy, blockchain, games and gamification, metaverse जिसका आपने सबने सुना होगा, and creator economy. ठीक है, मैं I'll just skim through this, right? कि privacy क्या है? Privacy is like, obviously, आप ये समझें, one of the most interesting things that I'm personally very invested in, कि भाई this is very cool, is zero knowledge proofs. Zero knowledge proofs का for example, अगर मैं अभी अपना से मिज़ान बैंक का खोलता हूँ अकाउंट और यहाँ से मैं आपको भेजता हूँ एक ट्रांजैक्शन, मेरी आईडी, मेरा नाम, मेरे हर चीज़ जाएगा बैंक को. ठीक है, मेरा ट्रांजैक्शन अमाउंट जाएगी. वो लोग कहेंगे हाँ यार ये हमारे लेजर पे है, ये XYZ से तलहा को भेज रहे हैं. ठीक, फिर वहाँ तलहा की आईडी के बाद बैंक के अगेंस्ट वहाँ आपको पहुँचाएगी. जीरो नॉलेज प्रूफ में, ठीक है, वाइल आप मेरे कंप्यूटर से दूसरे कंप्यूटर कर रहे हैं विदाउट अ मिडल मैन, जो दिस नोड्स दैट आर एग्जिस्टिंग, they don't need to know your name, they don't need to know anything, they can have one single piece of proof और वो वेरीफाई कर सकते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आपने देखा होगा थोड़े ऑनलाइन अगर आप ई-कॉमर्स ट्रांजैक्शन करते हैं तो आपका कार्ड नंबर का लास्ट 3 डिजिट्स मांगते हैं, लास्ट 4 डिजिट्स मांगते हैं. आप समझें कि ब्लॉकचेन में या आपने कभी भी दुनिया भर में कोई भी ट्रांजैक्शन करनी है, आपके यूनिवर्सली से वो नंबर मांगे और कोई और चीज़ नहीं. हाउ गुड वुड दैट? आपको नया अकाउंट अपना बनाने की ज़रूरत नहीं, आप अपना नाम, शनाख्त कुछ डालने की ज़रूरत नहीं. उससे ही लोग वेरीफाई कर सकते हैं कि यार ये असल बंदा है. राइट, दैट इज़ वन इंटरेस्टिंग. प्राइवेसी दो फैक्टर्स में आ गई. राइट, नंबर 1 इंक्रिप्शन. ब्लॉकचेन में थिंग्स आर इंक्रिप्टेड नेचुरली, दैट इज द यूज केस. सेकेंडली, आप जब ट्रांजैक्ट भी कर रहे हो, न्यू अपग्रेड सजेस्ट के उसमें यू डोंट इवन नीड टू सेंड एनी ऑफ योर डिटेल्स टू हैव दैट ट्रांजैक्शन प्रोसेस. आई कुडंट नो कि भाई मैं हमजा तलहा को भेज रहा, फॉर एग्जाम्पल. ठीक है, इट कुड बी OX123 सेंडिंग टू OX256. कोई नहीं पता who it is, and चला गया. राइट, तो वहाँ भी प्राइवेसी इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग एंड यू कैन चूज टू डू दैट. ब्लॉकचेन गेम्स, अब Web3 यूज केसेस में ब्लॉकचेन गेम्स, मेटावर्स, राइट, वेरी वेरी सिनोनिमस. आप वर्चुअल रियलिटी में जाओ, आप वहाँ खेलो, शॉप करो, रियल बहरिया टाउन खरीदो, वो आपके लिए कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में आ जाएगा, वो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को आप चेंज नहीं कर सकते, एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा. राइट, मेनी यूज केसेस हियर. The most, I think, important thing is that one obviously is interesting, but the economies within gaming is very interesting. For those of you that game, आपको पता होगा for like games like say Fortnite or whatever, you can customize your character, right? That character exists only in Fortnite. अगर फॉर एग्जांपल मैंने वो कैरेक्टर कस्टमाइजेशन लेके जानी है दूसरे गेम में काउंटर स्ट्राइक में, ठीक? मैं लेके जा सकता हूँ विद इन वेब3, क्योंकि दैट इज अ ट्रांसफरेबल एनएफटी एसेट फॉर एग्जांपल। आपकी आइडेंटिटी remains synonymous throughout the space. It's unique to you again, and you can sort of append to that as you see fit, as you feel fit, right? और फॉर एग्जांपल आपके पास कोई रेयर आपने वेपन आपने कोई ली व्हाटएवर रेयर आइटम विद इन द गेम आपको मिला है फ्रॉम डूइंग hundreds of hours of gaming, आपने वो बेचना है, you can sell it for a real value, not for like just in-game currency, right? It's transferable either way. मैंने बेचा for 100 meta tokens for example, ठीक है? वो 100 meta tokens मैं $100 का भी अपने जेब में भी डाल सकता हूँ, another use case. But the idea is to make things interesting, interactable with real life scenarios attached to it for both blockchain gaming and the metaverse, right? And I'm skipping most of this part because if I go into this, it's काफी interesting things come back. But if you want to look at examples, look at Axie Infinity, for example. That's also a Binance funded project. हमारे उस पर, you have a look what they're doing. क्या आप खेलते हो and you make money, which is crazy. खेलने पे आप make money. And also look at Philippines. So Philippines में over 10% now of the remittance market has shifted to क्या कहते हैं Web3 gaming. They have the biggest communities in the world for Web3 gaming, and बच्चे बड़े गेम खेल के पैसे बना रहे होते हैं अपनी आमदनी और से ज़्यादा, like they make a lot more, right? It's universally same rates across the board. So it's very interesting. Last sort of use cases, for example, you're a freelancer, you're an influencer, you're a creator, right? आप YouTube videos बनाते हो, etc. एक research आई थी very recently that stated कि YouTube से, for example, अगर आप $1 बनाते हो for 1,000 views, right, or 100 views, Spotify में per 1,000 या 100 views पे आपको $10 मिलते हैं, Facebook वगैरह से तकरीबन आपको $5 मिलते हैं, ठीक है? You can monetize this fully in Web3. 100% of the proceeds of a video or content you produce go to you. There exists Web3 YouTube अभी जिसमें any content that you put out, उसको X number of people जितने भी watch करते हैं, they get tokens or coins, and you can exchange those tokens or coins to real monetary benefit, right? And उसमें returns are projected to be way more than that these YouTube and bigger platforms take, because ये लोग जो ads भी run कर रहे होते हैं अपना cut भी लेते हैं, and then they give you a much lower cut. Another example is that record labels, right? So if you're a musician, अगर आपने अपना music, you want to get it out to the world, obviously अब the options are readily available. आप YouTube पे डाल दो, आप यहाँ डाल दो, Spotify पे डाल दो, SoundCloud पे डाल दो, etc. However, back in the day, and still like primarily, people use record labels, and record labels will promote your music in exchange for 5 years of royalty or 10 years of royalty. यानी for example आपने एक hit गाना बनाया, you get nothing. इसमें माइकल जैक्सन का एग्जांपल है. माइकल जैक्सन का थ्रिलर जो is still the most selling record album of all time. उसमें how much do you think Michael Jackson made? Not even close to जो उसके record label ने बनाया, ठीक है? Not even close. अगर वो Web3 पे कर रहा होता, where he got 100% of the proceeds, he'd be one of the richest people in the world. This is a fact of life. This is how it works. So a creator economy,
very nice example, Humza.
Sorry? Sorry, I didn't hear that. Did someone say anything? Cool. All right. Right. I'll come to governance, right? Government or regulations, etc. So I'll talk from direct experience, right? अभी there lies a tipping point. अभी ये जो मैं आपके साथ सारा information share किया, it's currently at a tipping point, right? कि what's next is the bigger question. And अभी फिलहाल दुनिया में तकरीबन 18,000 से ज़ायद क्रिप्टो करेंसीज हैं, तकरीबन 100 बिलियन हर 24 घंटे ट्रेड होता है, and market cap lies in the hands of consumers and those that provide the services, right? So these service providers such as Binance, such as other exchanges, have to be innovations in payments, safer, reduce costs, and work with regulators. So at Binance, for example, in 6 महीने from 2017, हमने दुनिया का नंबर 1 स्पॉट ले लिया था एज ए क्रिप्टो एक्सचेंज, और अभी तक हम नंबर 1 पे. एंड दिस इज प्राइमरली बिकॉज हम लोग इनोवेशन पुश फॉरवर्ड करते हैं, कॉस्ट यूज करते हैं, एज वेल एज रेगुलेशंस को लाते हैं, ब्रेकिंग द ब्रिज बिटवीन 2 and Web3 ऑन अ डेली बेसिस, राइट, इन दिस फास्ट पेस इंडस्ट्री. वेरी रिसेंटली हमने मीना रीजन लाइक दुबई, बहरीन, एज वेल एज पेरिस में, फ्रांस में, आई मीन इटली एज वेल, वहाँ भी हमने लाइसेंसेस लिए हुए हैं, and many other jurisdictions, right? We not only help collaborate on building the framework necessary to regulate the industry, but also are the first to work under the same. So, as many of you may know, like starting a business, right? Especially a finance one, you have to undergo regulations that are not necessarily very healthy for your business, right? However, to operate and scale up your business, you definitely. So many people try to avoid it as much as they can. With Binance, despite being number 1, हम ये chase करते हैं. So I think the next step is definitely a lot of the people adopting that same methodology. Going to regulators and saying, हाँ भाई हमें regulate करो, and not just हाँ भाई हमें regulate करो, but this is how you can do it. This is how you can do it. This is how it's done being in other markets. This is how it can relate to. This is the financial model you can follow. And it requires a specific expertise of actually building out Web3 products as well as having legal legislature exposure, right? So I have, that's like a perfect cocktail, but obviously anyone can contribute. And with Pakistan, right, specifically within Pakistan, it is very easy to see, I think in multiple reports last year we were ranked number 3 in terms of Web3 adoption, crypto adoption. And while it's not a very accurate metric, this year we're ranked 6. We're still in top 10, right? However, the speed of our adoption is gradually declining compared to the rest of the world. We still have a major opportunity to take this ecosystem by storm. We're top 10 in the world without necessarily contributing or building out protocols that are necessarily changing the world too much, right? We're more consumer and speculative market. So as we go, sustainable regulations need to come with dialogues from us as Web3 participants, as well as the government, regulators on hand. So I think the more conversations we can have, the better. इनके लिए भी demystifying ज़रूरी है, हमारे लिए भी ज़रूरी है कि what they're looking for, and happy medium बीच में आ जाए तो that's fine. So just to go back to that question, I think 3 points here. Faster payments already underway, lower fees already underway, regulations already underway. So the Web3 era is, I think, now sooner rather than later going to be very meta, very talked about, very built about. And I still think we're very, very early, especially given what it is, what it can be, and what its use cases are. So it will really take all of us to push past that tipping point. And obviously, I myself and we at Binance are definitely happy to assist in helping us do so. So we can definitely change the world, or watch the world change. My bad. I've been talking for too long. Anyways, I hope that sort of breaks down what it is within this sort of 1 hour slot. I tried to speed this up because there's so much we can definitely talk about, but any questions, happy to entertain them now fully. Oh, she said very nice example. Cool. Can you please tell any good Web3 games available in Pakistan? See, the beauty of Web3 is that it doesn't need to be available in Pakistan. Since it's decentralized, आपको सिर्फ एक wallet चाहिए, like a MetaMask wallet, right? and वहाँ से you can access games around the world, right? So Web3 games in Pakistan, as far as I know, are still being developed. I talked to a few gentlemen that are still developing something. Abhi filhal, there's nothing I would say is a Pakistani game, but if you want to access Web3 games, काफी. Step is a good example. चलते चलते, for walking you step and please in the end answer the question. Do you think Web3 can live without blockchain? Absolutely. I don't. It's an interesting question as well. So Web3 privacy. Web3 facilitates ownership, and that ownership, I would say, using that technology is your gateway to building Web3. How many people in Web3 space do you think are only here for trading and in Pakistan? Oof. And I can tell you the rough number, but I'll tell you the rough number. The exact number will come baad mein discuss karte. But the rough number is in a few millions. That's why we're still one of the top 10 in the world. And there have been reports that Pakistanis hold about $20 billion worth of assets. That may or may not be true. I can't necessarily say. I would say, I think with the market we're in now, we're farther from it. But yes, we can definitely go to that number or higher even. But I would say a majority of Pakistanis are in the speculative market, trading, karna, paise banana from it, and not necessarily building. Even though building is primarily your 100x or trading is your 10x. Maze ki ye baat hai. I know 12-year-old kids that made $1 million in a day from their own projects. So काम करें यार, काम करें आपको ज़्यादा पैसे बनेंगे. Is Binance working on making their own metaverse? So अभी हमारी जो strategy is हमारी rebranding जो हुई है, it follows a metaverse strategy. As far as we're making our metaverse, I don't think so. I mean, it's been hinted multiple times, but I don't think so. We do have a lot of in-house projects or projects that we funded, such as Axie. But again, the idea by Facebook is their in-house metaverse. So that is made by Facebook and controlled by Facebook, and the idea of decentralization doesn't come. So I don't think we'll go there, but if we do, let's see, right? For now, I don't think so. Cloud City Metaverse, I think is big. Yes, that's one of the products I've seen. Axie. What are your thoughts on the what currency? We do Binance, whatever physical offline. This is one question. आप क्रिप्टो में काम करते होंगे, आपको पता होगा कि पैसे किसमें इन्वेस्ट करना है, अगले पैसे किससे बनेंगे. नहीं भाई, हमें नहीं आता कि कौन से मैं आपको I can't suggest like I won't give financial trading में अच्छी नहीं करता. But in terms of the market conditions, I think you can look at the global scale. Now we're in a major recession, so being pegged to the dollar. So क्या होगा इस ecosystem को, right? So yes, the market will bounce back. When it's going to take some time, definitely. Look at the trends, see what makes sense for you. Do fundamental analysis, technical analysis, whatever. See what makes sense for you and invest accordingly. Again, only invest what you can risk. Do you think there's a market for enterprise use case of blockchain in Pakistan? Give me an example, right? What are you, SaaS? Are you talking about SaaS? So if it's SaaS, most likely. DAO as a service. I know projects that built out, and you can basically buy ready-made DAOs from them, and scale that up. Um, their auditing services, which is very very key to this ecosystem right now. कि इतने सारे प्रोजेक्ट्स डे बाय डे बेसिस आ रहे हैं, उनको ऑडिट कौन कर रहा है, उनको चेक कौन कर रहा है, उनके कोड कौन देख रहा है, कह रहा है कि भाई ये सही केस में हैक नहीं हो सकता और समथिंग लाइक दैट, राइट? क्या कहते हैं, who's doing regulation as a service, right? People can help you build out regulations for your financial product. So there's many different things. I think as an enterprise thing, many solutions. Supply chain data management, loyalty program. No, not data management. Not at all. Not at all. Yeah, that's basically saying कि आप एक नया blockchain बना रहे हो as a service. I don't think that will fly for too long. Data as क्या कहते हैं, data को use cases देना, yes, that can be a service. Ocean protocol is a good example. वो लोग क्या करते हैं? So have a look at that. Loyalty program for brands. Oh yes, of course. Loyalty programs are the best thing. Okay, I told you about the sports, right? Okay, sports interaction. That's a loyalty program for brands. Fan tokens, fan experiences, NFTs, right? How can you interact with artists, right? Say Snoop Dogg launches an NFT or uska NFT use case hai कि you get to meet him, right? You get to go in a studio with him, do a session with him, right? Loyalty programs. People are more incentivized to take part or buy that NFT. Sania Mirza is a good example. They had their NFTs. Jisme, if you bought them, you would get like signed merch and stuff, and even like calls or something with Sania Mirza, right? For example, NFTs for social good. You can participate with NGOs. अभी जैसे floods हो रहे हैं, उसमें a very transparent way to donate can be NFTs, right? As well as providing creators direct value for the work they do. Many different cases, man. Loyalty program for brands, insane stuff. Gap, the clothing brand, what they did, they released a 4-step NFT, and usme, if you had their, you would get their clothing, which is very exclusive and unlimited to the artist, got really famous. This is a unique piece of art, and उसमें जला देगा, या फिर you can have it shipped to you, या फिर you can trade it, right? Making it highly exclusive, making his brand exclusive, making owning the asset highly exclusive as well. Again, loyalty. Bored apes, right? Bored apes where you get IP rights. You can use apes to make content, right? Crazy things. I can go on for days, man. Loyalty programs are crazy. Look into them. I think brands doing loyalty programs is the next big thing. Why did which ecosystem do you recommend for development? Okay. See, I think primarily what people do is that people have gone into Ethereum because OG hai, that's the original one. And similarly, because it follows the same sort of blockchain standards as Binance. Binance very same standards for BNB chain. So you can definitely use there. Go to a platform where tooling is easy, right? Many have them write code for you, for example, AI assistant. Now to sell platforms are making tooling like a sell out accessible, just a chain and not sort of things there, as well as testnets we have and better transaction speeds as well as are offering better sort of transaction playgrounds, testnets. However, again, there's